Hello friends, welcome into the Browns Report. I am Tom Downey, here to take a look on today's video at a list from Fansided of 5 potential free agent targets for the Cleveland Browns. Now the 5 guys, and we'll go in depth on each of these here. Adrian Clayborne, who you Browns fans know quite well, Kenny Stills, Malik Hooker, and then 2 former AFC North players, Geno Atkins and Steven Nelson. Now, we'll break down each of these guys more in depth here in just a second. Before that, though, I want you guys to let me know which free agent or of those 5 or any would you want to sign. Get your votes in for me in the comment section. Simply name a free agent you guys want to add. All right, one by one now on those 5 players mentioned. First up, Adrian Clayborne. Spent some time last year with the Cleveland Browns. He is a fine depth piece at the defensive end position. But with Jadeveon Clowney on this roster, and if everyone stays healthy, including Takk McKinley, I don't know what the role would be for Clayborne. This is probably a guy I would look to add if there was an injury to one of your defensive ends. As it sits right now, I think you're okay. Now, Kenny Stills' inclusion here is fairly interesting. I don't consider receiver really a need for this team between Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, Higgins, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and, of course, the speedy potential gadget player in Anthony Schwartz. I think that speed role is filled by Schwartz. Now, if he's going to require a redshirt year, maybe take a look at Stills, but that's a decision you probably end up making midway later on through camp or the preseason. Now, defensive tackle, I think at some level, is still a need for Cleveland. They did try to bring back Sheldon Richardson after all. But for Atkins, he isn't the same guy that he was in his prime. I think we have to be realistic and acknowledge that. Barely played at all in 2020, was significantly banged up, come back from a shoulder injury, has not, I don't think, been medically cleared at this point. The team knows him well from the overlap there in terms of the Bengals to Browns side of it. If they don't trust the young guys, Tommy Togiai, for example, maybe you call about Atkins at that point. Now, Malik Hooker, much like Atkins, major medical issues. He's taken visits with the Miami Dolphins, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So far, none of those teams have signed him. I think the reasoning for that is pretty straightforward. The medical is not checked out. Now, he is an Ohio State guy. I know many Browns fans like to try and get those guys on the team. If he were 100% healthy, yes, I would have interest. But as long as Grant Delpit's there and John Johnson and even Ronnie Harrison, I don't know what the role would be for Hooker outside of being safety 4. He probably wants a bigger role once he gets fully medically back up to speed. Finally, Steven Nelson. And on one hand, I get it. We watched the Browns deal with so many injuries across the board at the cornerback position. That was a problem last season. But if everyone's healthy this year, I don't know where Nelson plays. Is he going to play over Troy Hill, over Greedy Williams, over Greg Newsome? I think probably not, or at least the Browns want those young guys to earn that role. Then, of course, he's going to sit behind Denzel Ward too, right? So because of that, I think Nelson probably wants a different destination. I know that was kind of like, oh, they're not going to sign any of those guys, and I'm sorry, but I think the reality is the Browns right now, they're in really good shape. They might not need to add anyone on their roster unless injuries happen, in which case everything could change.